Samuel Ronan is a former political candidate in Ohio. Just not too long ago, he ran in Ohio's first district in the Republican primary, and he lost. But Sam is a progressive. His platform is progressive. Last week, Ronan was arrested by Springboro police after a traffic stop, and he was charged with resisting arrest, failure to comply with the order of an officer, and obstructing official business. So Sam Ronan, he recorded some of this encounter with the police officer that had initiated this traffic stop.
Whatever the issue is, you yelling at me and threatening me to get on the ground is not relevant.
On the ground.
No, I'm absolutely not getting on the ground. What do you think you're doing? Let go of me. Let go of me. What is the problem?
Get on the ground. Your last chance. Get on the ground.
You're going to stun me.
Get on the ground.
You do realize you're on live right now? You're on live.
Get on the ground.
No.
Get on the ground.
Now you assaulted me.
Girl, get on the ground.
You haven't even told me what any issue is. For what?
Get on the ground, sir.
What am I under arrest for? Getting out of my car. Parking?
You stand up here. Step up. Get on the ground.
No.
On the ground.
What am I under arrest for?
Get on the ground.
Please tell me.
On the ground. No.
You have no.
Take you on the ground.
Then you have no legal grounds to arrest me. You can't just arrest me because you want to. As much as this is a police state, and as much as you feel like you are obligated to do this, you're not.
On the ground.
No. You see, now you're assaulting me.
I automatically thought that he had parked and the cop kind of just like came up behind him.
Yeah.
He was already sitting in his car and he was parked. So I was like, yeah, you know, if I'm sitting in my car and I'm just getting home and I'm getting out of my car and all of a sudden the cop just, you know, pulls up behind me, lights or no lights, and I'll be like, yeah, what's going on? Like, you ain't tell me nothing. So that's kind of where I was.
He was taken into, county jail, Warren County Jail. I think the bond was set at like $60,000. He had to stay over the weekend until, I believe, Tuesday morning where he had the arraignment. And he was released on his own recognizance. Now, before he was released, the dash cam footage came out.
Yo, I'll tell you what. I think me and him kind of agree on this.
Mm-hmm.
And usually when police departments release dash cam without being prompted, or excuse me, or they release dash cam immediately without any kind of uproar from anybody or forcibly, to me that is a sign.
County line before you go into Montgomery County. That's somewhere I think. Registration return current, there was on a silver 2015 Honda 4-1-8 out of Trevor off Creekside Drive. I am showing an active CCW permit attached to the registered owner.
On the ground now, sir.
12, what did you advise? Additional units, primary one is now restricted.
Get on the ground! You're all cancel the stroke. Get on the ground! This is what you're supposed to do! I want your hand behind your back. I want your ball, your hand behind your back. Now's not the time for that. Yes, it is. No, it isn't. We can talk about this later. Really? So are you under arrest? For pulling into my driveway. You have the right to make something.
There was something maybe about like some road rage or like some unsafe driving. And you can't tell from that video if there was actually some unsafe driving. You can see just like a cluster of lights, some headlights, and you can't tell what the officer saw. So I have no idea if the officer actually saw that or not, or maybe he was just tripping. We have no idea. But he made the U-turn and he got behind Ronan's vehicle. At that point, the light turned green. So the light turned green. There was no green arrow. There was cars coming. Well, there was cars stopped at the light. Sam turned in front of those cars. The cop car followed and then put on the siren and the lights. So that could have been the violation.
You're going to tell me now, people out there in the alternative media circuit who have kind of jumped on this story and kind of framed it around police brutality and some sort of unfair treatment. I guess that was Samuel Ronan met by way of the police department. You're going to tell us that immediately getting out of your car is acceptable and it doesn't prompt the officer to be on edge? You see what I'm saying? He immediately got out of his car. And based on that footage, I think I can, loosely assume that Samuel Ronan saw that police car behind him.
You think he saw it? It was nighttime.
I think
lights
I can
behind you,
use
siren.
Yeah, sirens. So he knew that he was being pulled over. I
Right.
think he's old enough to know what that means, and I think he is smart enough to know in that situation, regardless, you definitely don't get out of your car. Not only do you not get out of your car, you don't walk over to the police officer with a bag in your hand.
Yeah, and something else, and a cell phone in your hand. And we just came out of a situation months ago where Stephon Clark was killed for a cell phone being in his hand.
And honestly, here's the thing. I think the police officer recognized that it was a cell phone because I think you could see the light. Mm-hmm. So I think as Sam got closer, I think he could see that it was a cell phone. But like I said, here's the but. Sam also had a bag in his hand, and he kind of strolled up to the officer almost in a very casual way, almost like he's just strolling through Macy's, like that. I'm just like, yo, man. I'm like, what did he expect the cop to do? And you know what I noticed though? The cop pulled out a taser, but did the cop use the taser?
He didn't use the taser.
So why is that though? So in this situation, it actually seems to me that the cop actually didn't want to tase him. He was just kind of trying to use the taser as some sort of like influential tool and not actually use it. Because remember, he puts it back. He's probably thinking, well, I'll pull out the taser and maybe he'll understand how serious this situation is. But it he didn't want to use it, and he actually didn't use it. He put it back. He didn't want to taste it.
All right, so let me jump in here, man. I can't but harp on this one issue, okay? Because as soon as I'm seeing this video footage, it's ringing in my head. My eyes are wide open. Who gets out the damn car? Who gets out of the car during a traffic stop? If you have been driving for even a minute, if you have your driver's license, you don't get out the damn car. Again, we have no idea if the charge is if the reason that he was being pursued by police was bullshit or not. It's really not my concern. Shit happens all the time, especially to, in communities of color. They're profiled, they're followed. That happens all the time. They're pulled over. It's some bullshit, and that's something people have to go through, but you stay in the car, you have to deal with. There's a process. Like if it's not based on any kind of legitimacy, then there's a process. You go to court, you know, maybe you can sue, whatever the case. In this case, in any case, you don't step out of the vehicle, and you damn sure don't walk up to the patrol car. You never do that. You are, in this situation, you're escalating the situation, not the officer. Because when you get out the vehicle, they don't know what the hell you're about to do. I asked my mother earlier today, because I was looking at this video over and over again. And I asked her, Mom, what don't you do when you get pulled over by the police officer? She's like, what don't you do? I was like, yeah, what don't you do? First thing she said was, don't get out the car. I said, damn right. You don't get out the car. Everybody in America, the United States of America, knows that you don't get out of the car if you are pulled over. Black people damn sure know you don't get out the car. And if you do get out of the car, are you going to approach a police officer's vehicle?
That's actually the second thing. That's actually two things, dude. You just mentioned two things. You said get out of the car. That's one violation. That's one silly and weird
major violation.
Major violation. And then what? Walking
approach the officer and the vehicle
with a bag in your hand.
And see, this is the thing that we're not seeing a lot of people addressing. They're kind of just skating right by it. They're just kind of glossing over it like that's not the main sticking point. That is the reason why this officer had a taser. You know, he didn't deploy it, but he had his taser brandished. He doesn't know what the hell you're about. He doesn't know what the hell you're going to do.
A lot of people are pointing to the fact that there was no charge for, I guess, driving recklessly or, driving in an unsafe manner or whatever. Whatever the charge could have been, people were pointing to that as proof that that wasn't what this was about. And I was like, you do realize that it didn't even get to that point to where the officer was actually going to address it. And it may not even resulted in a ticket. That's
true. See, that's a major thing to bring up, man.
He didn't even, it didn't even get to the point where the officer could address whatever he saw.
Just because Samuel Ronan is at his house, too, it doesn't mean that you are able to get out of the vehicle. This is still a traffic stop. No matter where you stop, no matter if it's at your home, you know the police car was after you. You knew the police were pulling you over. Doesn't matter if you pulled into your spot. This is still a traffic stop. You have to stay in the vehicle and allow him to do his job. When a driver or anybody in a vehicle in a traffic stop gets out their vehicle, the officer is right to be alarmed.
Hey, stay in the vehicle. Stay in the vehicle. Stay in the vehicle. Show me your hands. Show me your hands. Hey! 481, shots fired. Shots fired.
Spooner and South Board. Please sit back in the car for me. You were speeding, but right now I need you to... Sir, get back in the car for me now. Sir, please get back in the car for me now. I told you were speeding. Sir! 5326, shots fired! Shots fired! 5326, shots fired!
So those are just two situations. Like the first clip happened actually just a couple months ago. I believe it was in March, and the second video happened some years ago. Now I think what's important to note about that second video is that you heard the officer tell them why he was pulling them over. He said it was speeding, right? But the driver at that point was stationary. He wasn't approaching the vehicle. So I think, like, I have to point that out because a lot of people have said, hey, this officer wasn't telling Ronan what he was, I guess, detaining him for, like what the issue was. At the point where Ronan is out of the vehicle and approaching the officer doesn't want any communication with Ronan. Get on the ground. I have no idea what you're capable of. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know why you're out of the vehicle. I don't know why you're approaching me. You know I'm black, right? I'm just setting the stage here, right? Okay. What if I was in that same situation. You know I'm black, right? And I said, you damn sure know that black people know not to get out the vehicle. You know that for damn sure. So you know me being black, and I got out the vehicle, I got roughed up because I got out of the vehicle, I got arrested, right? I can imagine what the first thing you would say to me after learning all the details.
Oh, yeah. First thing I say to you is, why'd your dumb ass get out of the car?